and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays, 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
Vielleicht nur als Imposant.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Race to Power. My name is Mohammed Saleh. And on the show today, the federal government in the United States is facing a potential shutdown. The Congress is until about 11:59 p.m. on Friday to pass a legislation to keep the government funded. Otherwise, the majority of federal employees will go without pay and will be forced to stop working. And most government services will also pause. And also on the show, Greenland is holding what is perhaps its most watched parliamentary elections, with independence from Denmark being a key campaign theme. But let's of course start with this big story that we are tracking on Race to Power at this moment, where President Donald Trump's plan to cut federal spending faces a significant roadblock in the United States Congress. Now, Friday is of course the day when the US government will shut down if the Congress does not pass detailed spending legislation. The Republicans and the Democrats are at loggerheads on Donald Trump's unprecedented efforts to downsize the American government. Now, Trump so far has fired about 25,000 federal employees and has vowed more layoffs. He's also dismantled consumer protection and has cut foreign aid programs authorized by the Congress. Now, the stopgap funding bill, known as continuing resolution, will be voted in the House. And although the Republicans hold a very narrow majority in the House of Representatives, where the balance is split 281 to 214, the stopgap funding bill will require support from the Democrats in the Senate. They lack 8 votes to reach the required threshold of about 60 votes to pass the spending bill. Now, Senate Republicans control about 53 seats, but then Senator Rand Paul has said that he'll vote against the continuing resolution. The Democrats, on the other hand, have offered an alternative to the Republican plan to fund the government. The Democrats' bill aims to avoid federal shutdown and to keep the government running for about 4 weeks till the time there is a final consensus on bipartisan funding package. All right, now to give us more perspective on this, we are joined by our correspondent Susan Tehrani, who's of course joining us live on this broadcast. Susan, this is a big moment. It's not for the first time that we are headed towards a crisis such as this, where there could be a potential government shutdown. But how realistic, considering that Donald Trump has been trying to downsize the government? This is not an idea that the Democrats really approve of. So what are the chances that we may have a government shutdown in the United States this time round?
Yeah, the chances are very slim because, first of all, this is a continuing resolution. It's a stopgap bill, which really is temporary just to give lawmakers more time to negotiate a more permanent bill. You know, that one big, beautiful bill that President Trump often talks about. But on the other hand, the Democrats are in a very peculiar situation. 21% approval rating on the one hand, and on the other hand, they've been very critical of Elon Musk's Doge initiative, which goes after federal workers. So if a government shutdown does happen on Friday, then about 1,900,000 federal workers are going to be furloughed. They may not get their bills, Social Security, Medicaid, all of those stuff that they've been advocating for are going to really be in jeopardy. So where do they stand right now? Do they support this, or do they become the party that causes a government shutdown that's against the federal workers? On the other hand, as you mentioned, they've put their own proposal forward. It's very unlikely that will go forward. But ultimately, the Republicans need the Democrats to get this bill passed. And so, you know, we know that J.D. Vance is on the Hill today. He's trying to see, you know, whether or not he can garner any support, at least among Republicans, where some of them have said that they don't want to support this. But nonetheless, it appears that the Democrats will have to come around, considering the fact that, you know, it'll just seem hypocritical if they don't.
Interesting. Now, so far, according to the data that has emerged, as part of these efforts to minimize government spending, it's being said that as many as about 25,000 people have been laid off from their jobs from within the American government system. You know, tell us what sort of an impact this has on the psyche of the American public, where thousands and thousands of people are being laid off from their government jobs. How is this resonating with the American public?
It's an 80-20 issue. It's one of those 80-20 issues that we often talk about. The American public supports this. It's something that President Trump campaigned on. He had no secrets about it. Elon Musk came on stage during his campaign, even in states like Pennsylvania that are purple states, and he said that he's going to start with the government efficiency, DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, and the American people overwhelmingly supported this. It's not so much that these are essential workers. These are people that either have not gone to the office, don't check emails, or have ultimately, have not contributed the way that they should. At least this is what we know until now. How far will the American people support this? How successful will DOGE will be? Only time will tell. But right now, again, it's one of those 80-20 issues.
All right, we'll have to leave there. Thank you very much, Susan Tehrani, for joining us with those details then. Now, the American President Elon Musk has again praised Elon Musk for doing what he's calling a fantastic job. Now, the American President Donald Trump has pledged to buy a Tesla, now calling it a stand against an illegal boycott of Elon Musk and his cars. Now, Donald Trump's announcement, of course, has come in response to the ongoing protests across the country against Tesla over Elon Musk's role in the Trump administration. Now, Trump on his Truth Social platform posted that he would buy a new Tesla car as a show of confidence and support for Elon Musk, who he has praised as truly a great American patriot. Now, Trump wrote, and I quote him here, "To the Republicans, the conservatives, and all great Americans, Elon Musk is putting it on the line in order to help our nation, and he's doing a fantastic job. But the radical left lunatics, as they often do, are trying to illegally and collusively boycott Tesla, one of the world's great automakers and Elon's baby, in order to attack and do harm to Elon and everything that he stands for." Now, Elon Musk thanked Donald Trump on X for publicly praising him and also saying that Donald Trump will buy a Tesla car. Since returning to the White House in January, Trump has empowered the tech billionaire and his Department of Government Efficiency to slash federal government spending and cutting workforce in government agencies. But Doge's cost-cutting campaign has faced increasing resistance, including protests, court rulings, and some pressure from the lawmakers. Now, Tesla investors fear boycotts and buyer backlash over Elon Musk's actions and close ties to Trump. The Tesla shares tanked over 15% on Monday as uncertainty over Donald Trump's import tariffs and threats have left the U.S. financial markets very jittery. The U.S. spy chief Tulsi Gabbard has revoked the security clearances for a number of top Biden administration officials following through on the directives issued by President Donald Trump upon taking office. Now, the Director of National Intelligence wrote in a social media post that she has revoked the clearances of the former Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, the former National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, and the former U.S. Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco. The General Monaco had overseen the prosecution of Trump supporters who had stormed the Capitol on the 6th of January in 2021. Tulsi Gabbard has also cancelled the security clearance for the New York State Attorney Letitia James, who won a civil fraud judgment against Trump last year. Further, Gabbard has also revoked the clearance of Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan District Attorney, who secured a conviction against Trump over the hush money case. The two prosecutors have now lost any federal information sharing perks, which might result in their cases slowing down. Among other officials who are under the spy chief's action is lawyer Mark Zaid. Zaid has called Gabbard's action to be nothing but revenge and said on social media that it skips the due process that is such an instrumental part of America's judicial system. And other legal foes, including the former ambassador to the Czech Republic, Norm Eisen, and the former FBI General Counsel Andrew Weissman, have also seen their clearances revoked in line with previous Donald Trump's pledges. Now, Tulsi Gabbard has also pulled the clearances of about 51 former officials who signed a letter in 2020 arguing that reports about the contents of a laptop that allegedly belonged to Hunter Biden were Russian disinformation. Now, Trump's team has termed this an election meddling gimmick and has also withdrawn their access to classified information. The move has sparked widespread reaction on social media, with critics saying that Donald Trump is actually settling scores and this could hamper the trust in American intelligence. After his return to the White House, Donald Trump had announced an executive order and posts on social media that the Biden officials would be losing their security clearance, also keeping with a prior announcement by Trump. The former President Joe Biden will no longer receive the president's daily brief. Traditionally, the briefing has been shared with former presidents, but Joe Biden suspended that practice for Donald Trump in 2021. Donald Trump had also moved to revoke Biden's security clearance in February. But Gabbard's latest moves are likely to increase accusations that Trump is using security clearances as a clear tool of revenge against his political foes. A former national security official has said that this decision will hamper the Trump administration as it contends with an array of global threats, because it will be deprived of consulting with its predecessors who may have insights to share, with an aim to build strong partnerships and also to create open lines of communication. The spy chief Tulsi Gabbard is now set to visit the Indo-Pacific region, including India. In a post on X, the U.S. intelligence director has said that she will be going to Japan, Thailand and India, followed by a brief stopover in France. Now, Greenland is holding what is perhaps its most watched parliamentary election. The voting is taking place under a shadow of the Trump buyout plan for Greenland. With independence from Denmark being a key campaign theme, the question, of course, is this: will the Greenland parliamentary elections help Donald Trump's plan, which, of course, may prove to be the million-dollar question? The voting, which is currently underway, will close at 2200 hours GMT. Greenland's Prime Minister Mute Egede is amongst the early voters who cast his ballot. Out of Greenland's 57,000 citizens, around 45,500 are eligible to vote, and around 27,000 people voted in the last general election in 2021. There will be no exit polls. The results are expected to start trickling in by 100 hours GMT. Now, there are about 31 seats in the Greenland Parliament, with elected members chosen from 6 political parties, and 16 seats are needed for a majority. The present government is run by a coalition of 2 parties headed by Prime Minister Mute Egiri, whose party has the highest number of seats. Now, some Greenlanders have in fact cast early ballots on Monday. They've expressed hope that more people will of course come out and vote this time round.
I hope the Greenlandic people will vote with their senses today and not by greed. And they will not be seduced by greed. And I don't want to mention his name.
He's never give up on something he wants. So that's concerning. And what it's really important to say, it's the minerals and the resources, his interest. It's not our as people.
A day before the election, the leaders of Greenland's main political parties took part in a televised debate amidst concerns about foreign interference and demands that Greenlanders must control their own destiny. Now, Greenland is located in the North Atlantic Ocean between Europe and North America, making it strategically important. It is the world's largest island. It is larger than all of mainland Europe combined. The United States, of course, has a large airbase in Greenland, the Pituffik Space Base. Earlier, the Thule Air Base from Greenland. The United States can monitor and prevent any missile that is coming towards it from Russia, China, or even North Korea. However, Trump's interests go well beyond military objectives. He is interested in the island's rare earth minerals, which are used in mobile phones, electric vehicles, and other consumer electronics, but also in bombs and other weapons as well. At present, China is a major supplier of the rare earth minerals. Remember, Greenland was a Danish colony until 1953, but now it is a self-governing territory of Denmark, with Copenhagen still controlling the foreign affairs, defense and monetary policy. It has the right to hold a referendum on independence since 2009, and some locals see this current election as a potential chance to secede. The polls show that a majority of the Greenlanders favor political and economic independence from its former colonial ruler. All right, let's now give you some breaking news that's in fact just come in from the United States, wherein a significant escalation of the ongoing trade war with Canada, the American President Donald Trump has doubled his planned tariffs on all steel and aluminium products coming into the United States from Canada, taking the total amount of tariffs to 50%. Now, the tit-for-tat move comes in response to the province of Ontario placing a 25% tariff on electricity coming into the United States. Now, in a post on Truth Social, Donald Trump says that he's instructed his Commerce Secretary to add an additional 25% tariff on the products that will, of course, come into effect pretty soon. Now, the American president has also threatened to substantially increase tariffs on cars coming into the United States on the 2nd of April. If other long-term tariffs are not likewise dropped by Canada. He's also revived threats that the country will become US's 51st state. So this, of course, is the big story that we are tracking on Race to Power at this moment, where the tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminium have now been increased to 50% by the United States of America. This is an overnight doubling of the amount of tariffs that had been placed on steel and aluminium from Canada by the United States of America. This is a tit-for-tat sort of a measure that the American administration under Donald Trump has resorted to. It has come in response to the province of Ontario, which is now slapped a 25% tariff on electricity. That, of course, is coming into the United States from Canada. Now, the former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has been arrested after the International Criminal Court ordered his arrest in connection with a case of crime against humanity. Now, Duterte was arrested at Manila's International Airport upon his arrival from Hong Kong. The 79-year-old leader had an Interpol arrest warrant against him. Massive killings took place in Philippines during Duterte's so-called war on drugs. The Global Tribunal is investigating Duterte's deadly crackdown on illegal drugs.
Being you are the person who arrested me, may I know the reason why? Have you read the documents, or at least have you read the case at that time when you made the arrest, so that you would be guided to what you should know?
Now, human rights groups claim that the Philippine police and vigilantes murdered over 12,000 unarmed drug suspects on Duterte's watch. While Duterte withdrew the Philippines from the ICC in late 2021, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., who succeeded Duterte, had promised to cooperate with the ICC's investigation. Duterte won the presidential elections in 2016. His war on drugs became the most controversial policy as it led to extrajudicial killings of thousands of suspected drug dealers and users. And this policy has attracted international criticism due to human rights concerns. In a major diplomatic shift, Duterte has brought Philippines closer to China and Russia, severing his long-time ties with the United States. Now, China has come out in Duterte's support. Beijing has warned the International Criminal Court against the politicization and the double standards in a media briefing. The Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning added that it is very closely monitoring the developments that are unfolding in Manila. The new Syrian regime has formed a fact-finding committee to investigate into a wave of deadly sectarian violence that engulfed the country's coastal region. The new authority has said that Syria is determined to prevent the unlawful revenge and sectarian violence in the country. Now, pressure has been growing on Syria's Islamist-led government to investigate into reports by witnesses and also a war monitor of the killings of hundreds of civilians in villages where the majority of the population are members of the ousted president's Alawite sect.
We are gathering and reviewing all available evidence, reports, and other relevant source materials related to the events, in addition to setting up programs for interviewing witnesses and anyone who can assist in the investigation and identifying locations that need to be visited.
Now, the Kurdish population in Syria's northern city of Qamishli has also held demonstrations against a recent wave of sectarian violence targeting the Alawite minority.
My message is for the Syrian blood to stop. We are all brothers, whether Christian, Arab, Kurdish, Druze, or of any sect, and Jews too. In Syria, we are all brothers. This is what the Prophet taught us.
Now, the United States nations has also urged a halt to the suffering in the violence that has killed almost about 1,000 civilians. The development comes as Syria's interim government has announced an agreement with the Kurdish-dominated Syrian Democratic Forces to integrate into the autonomous Kurdish administration in the northeast into the national government. The deal, which includes the complete cessation of hostilities, was signed by the interim Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara and SDF's commander Mazloum Abdi. The government, to be implemented by the end of the year, will bring all border crossings with Iraq and Turkey under its control. Airports and oil fields in the northeast under the central government's control. Prisons, where nearly about 9,000 suspected members of the so-called Islamic State group are also expected to come under the government control of Ahmed al-Shara. Now, according to the deal, the Syrian Kurds will gain their own constitutional rights, including using and teaching their language, which was banned for decades under Assad. Now, hundreds of thousands of Kurds who were displaced during Syria's nearly 14-year civil war will return to their homes. The thousands of Kurds living in Syria who have been deprived of nationality for decades under Assad will be given the right to citizenship. The ongoing showdown between the Bharatiya Janata Party government in the centre and the DMK government in Tamil Nadu over the new education policy has taken a new turn. After the fiery showdown on the floor of the parliament yesterday, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has intensified his opposition of the national education policy. The DMK chief has said that the policy is aimed at wiping out the educational progress of Tamil Nadu. He's also alleged that the new policy of the BJP government will only make higher education available for the rich.
Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan is arrogantly saying that only if you accept Hindi and Sanskrit, we will release the Rs 2000 CR funds that are meant for Tamil Nadu. National education policy is aimed at wiping out the progress that Tamil Nadu has made in education. BJP government is looking to privatize education, trying to make higher education accessible only to the rich, mixing communalism in education. It is based on this that we are opposing national education policy.
The Tamil Nadu's DMK party sees the national education policy and also its three-language formula as nothing but the imposition of Hindi. Now, previously, Stalin, who has called Hindi imposition as an act of entitled bigots. Meanwhile, the centre claims that Tamil Nadu's stand is actually a backtracking of its earlier acceptance of the three-language formula. So what's been called Hindi imposition has long been a sensitive issue, very sensitive issue in South India. The DMK has argued that Tamil Nadu has flourished with a two-language system, including Tamil and English as the languages. Now, the Bharatiya Janata Party claims that its formula will benefit the people who want to travel to other North Indian states. And that's a wrap on this edition of Race to Power. Thanks for watching.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
Ready to dive into your daily dose of news?
Bringing you what's trending in the West and all that's setting trends in the East.
And all of this served up with a side of insightful banter.
We don't just bring you the latest stories.
We bring you your talking points for the day.
And while you do that, from the busy streets of New York, I will provide you with deeper insights on the developments through the course of the day in the U.S.
The show that keeps you ahead of the global curve. A conversation you'd want to be a part of. A place where news becomes an engaging exchange.
We bring you stories that impact your present.
This is World DNA. Join the conversation.
Know more, understand better, think ahead. Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Get the facts, not the bombast. On the 26th of March, dynamic pricing, Baloch separatists, Gravitas cuts out the clutter. Gravitas keeps calm when others scream. Gravitas brings news to life. Weekdays 9 p.m. IST, 3:30 p.m. GMT. Gravitas. Seeing is believing.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at juhi@such.org.in.
WION, India's global voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide. Because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is one.
The Earth is sending distress signals. Wildfires, droughts, and melting glaciers. Can we reverse the damage? Explore the harrowing effects of climate change. It's a wake-up call. Global emergency. Climate Tracker on WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.